The Kybalion Chapter 6, The Divine Paradox Explained. Welcome back to our journey through the Kybalion. Today, we step into one of the most important and challenging truths in Hermetic philosophy, the divine paradox. This teaching is not simply a mental riddle. It is a truth that, once understood, can dissolve fear, deepen your wisdom, and change how you see every part of your life. The divine paradox says that two seemingly opposite statements about reality can both be true at the same time. On one level, the universe is absolutely real. On another level, it is an illusion. Both truths exist, and your mastery comes from knowing when and how to apply each perspective. What is the divine paradox? From the highest perspective, the perspective of the all, the infinite source of everything, the material world is like a passing shadow. It has no permanence. It is a creation within the mind of the all, much like a dream within your own mind. From the human perspective, the perspective of you and me living in this physical reality, the world is absolutely real. It has rules, limitations, and consequences. What happens here matters to us while we are here. The paradox is that both perspectives are correct. The all is infinite and eternal. The world we experience is temporary and changing, and yet both are part of the same truth. Why the human mind struggles with this? Human thinking likes to choose one side. We are taught that something must be either real or unreal, good or bad, right or wrong. This is why many people either become completely absorbed in the material world, forgetting there is anything beyond it, or they become so focused on the higher reality that they lose touch with the physical world altogether. The divine paradox calls us to hold both views at once, to be fully here but also fully aware of the greater reality behind it all. The divine paradox is deeply connected to the first Hermetic principle, the principle of mentalism, which tells us the all is mind, the universe is mental. If everything exists within the mind of the all, then the universe is like a mental projection. From the highest perspective, it is not as solid or ultimate as it appears, but from our perspective inside it, it is our lived reality, and its laws are binding. The ancient Hermetic teachers understood this balance as the key to wisdom. They warned against getting trapped in either extreme. Think about a video game. To the player inside the game, the world is completely real. You follow its rules, you face its challenges, you have a mission. But step outside the game and you realize the whole thing is pixels on a screen. Or think of a dream. When you are in it, it feels absolutely real. Your heart races, you feel emotions, you act as if the dream world is the only world. But when you wake up, you realize it was a creation within your own mind. This is how the all relates to the universe, and how we, as souls, relate to this human experience. Why this matters to you. Understanding the divine paradox changes how you move through life. When things go wrong, you can zoom out and remember, this too shall pass. From the highest truth, it is all part of a temporary play of form. When things go right, you can fully enjoy them, knowing their impermanence makes them even more precious. It gives you the freedom to live without clinging and without fear. If this teaching is already open in your mind, I'd love to hear your perspective. Which side of the paradox do you tend to live from? Fully in the world, or more in the awareness of the infinite? Drop your thoughts in the comments, I read everyone. And if you're finding value in these Kybalion breakdowns, make sure to subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss the rest of the series. Alright. Let's go deeper into how to actually live with the divine paradox in your everyday life, living between two truths. Walking with the awareness of the divine paradox means becoming both the actor and the audience in the play of life. You play your role fully, but you never forget that you are more than the role. When you succeed, you celebrate, but you don't lose yourself in the victory. When you fail, you learn, but you don't see it as the end. This balance allows you to live with engagement and detachment at the same time. The Kybalion warns of two traps: material obsession, forgetting the higher truth and becoming fully identified with the physical plane. This leads to fear, greed, and suffering. Spiritual escape, using the higher truth to avoid responsibilities in the physical plane. This leads to disconnection, stagnation, and wasted potential. True mastery is the middle path, fully participating in life while never losing sight of the bigger picture. Think of a current challenge in your life. Now, look at it from the human perspective. What needs to be done? What actions are required? Then look at it from the higher perspective. How small will this seem in 5 years in the scope of eternity? Holding both views brings clarity and peace. The ancients often explained the divine paradox through symbols. One of the most common is the ocean and the wave. A wave rises from the ocean, moves across the surface, and eventually falls back into the hole. To the wave, it feels separate, unique, with its own journey. But in truth, it is never separate from the ocean. It is the ocean, in a temporary form. From the human perspective, you are the wave. You have your name, your history, your individual journey. From the higher perspective, you are the ocean, eternal, boundless, unchanging. Both truths are real. Another symbol is light and shadow. The shadow is not separate from the object casting it. It has shape and form, but its entire existence depends on the light. In the same way, the physical world has form and presence, but it is inseparable from the infinite source. In physics, we see something similar with light, behaving as both a particle and a wave. Two seemingly contradictory truths, both proven, both real, depending on how you observe them. In psychology, a person can hold conflicting emotions about the same situation, love and frustration, hope and fear, without one cancelling the other. The divine paradox is not a strange exception to reality. It is the very nature of reality itself, showing up in every layer of existence. Applying the paradox in daily life. Knowing this is one thing, living it is another. Here are practical ways to apply the divine paradox. When in stress, zoom out. Remind yourself that in the grand scale of existence, this moment is temporary. This reduces fear and pressure. When in joy, zoom in, be fully present, and savor the experience, because it will change and pass. This deepens appreciation. In relationships, remember that people are both temporary forms and eternal beings. This fosters compassion and reduces attachment rooted in fear of loss. In goals and challenges, act as if everything matters, but know that nothing can ultimately diminish who you truly are. This keeps you motivated yet peaceful. Here's a simple, Hermetic-inspired daily practice to strengthen your awareness of the divine paradox. Morning. Before starting your day, close your eyes and remind yourself, I am both the wave and the ocean. I am spirit and form. Throughout the day, when challenges arise, ask, how would I see this from the higher perspective? Then act wisely from the human perspective. Evening. Reflect on one moment where you balance both truths well. Appreciate that you are learning to live as both participant and observer. Over time, this will become second nature. You will navigate life with a calm center no matter what happens around you. Why the divine paradox is empowering. The beauty of this teaching is that it removes fear without removing meaning. If everything were only physical, death would be the end, loss would be permanent, and fear would rule. If everything were only spiritual, life here would feel meaningless, and we might neglect it entirely. But holding both truth at once lets you live fully while staying free. You work, love, create, and grow, all while knowing that your essence cannot be harmed by time or change. Soft closing, call to action. If this breakdown gave you clarity or helped you see life differently, I invite you to share your thoughts in the comments. Which example or idea spoke to you the most? Your reflections often become the seeds for future videos, and I read everyone. If you'd like to keep exploring the Kybalion and other timeless spiritual teachings, subscribe to the channel and turn on the notification bell. That way, you'll be the first to know when we dive into the next chapter. Until then, remember, you are both the dream and the dreamer, the wave and the ocean, the shadow and the light. Live fully in both truths, and you will walk this path with wisdom, balance, and peace.